Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the ever-growing famous BroCast here. Today we are fortunate enough to be blessed with the presence of broker owner Jim Dietrich. We've known Jim for quite some time now. I'd say going back to 2016, 2017 roughly. Really, we started to kind of form the relationship there. Jim spent part of his career with Remax and as of the last few years now owns four Realty One Group Supreme franchises through Allentown, Quakertown, Sayre, PA, and now as of a month ago or so, 2 months ago?
Yes.
Doylestown, PA. So we ever growing.
Very exciting.
Wanted to open up with Jim today. You know, those who have followed us to this point, we've been very home buyer centric, and obviously we're still going to discuss the home buyer. But I think with Jim being a broker owner, we'd like to really kind of talk to the agents today. So I'd love to kind of, Jim, start with the current state of the market here, where we're at, and what you feel this current market represents to the agents.
The biggest thing to the agents that I see is that we got to go back to work. It made it real easy when you could list a house and it would be on the market for 24 hours and you get 24 offers. So a lot of people got into the business. And that business just naturally just happened. You put it on, like I said, you put it on the market, it sells in 24 hours, it sells for $40,000 over asking price. You know, they come away, they're the hero, all that kind of stuff. And so many people got into the business because they could see there was an easy way to make a buck.
Oh yeah.
But now today, we actually have to go to work. People think, oh, the market's crashing. It's not crashing. This market's not crashing. This is normalizing. So we're finally getting back to normal in what we were before the pandemic. We're getting back into more normal things. Rates are going up a little bit, not a big deal, if you look at it logically. So the rates are going up, inventory levels are decreasing, we're finding that the agents just don't know what to do because they got into the business, didn't have to do anything. They don't have a CRM, they don't have a contact management system, which is CRM, home buyers, the home buyer market itself has decreased 44.3% in the month of July. You know, that's a lot of people that are no longer in the market. Okay, so let's talk about that. Why are they no longer in the market? A bunch of them 4, 5, 6 months ago went out and got a rental unit. So now they're stuck in a rental unit for a year and they can't buy right now. So we're losing, what's that doing to our rental market? So what's that doing to our investors? You know, so we have investor clients that we deal with that are, real aggressive in the market right now because the rental markets are so high.
So how is that though for the investor in this market? I mean, are they really finding? I just think the prices have not calmed down. They've somewhat leveled, right? We see somewhat level. They're not necessarily coming down though. So what is it to the investor that? I just don't know who's buying properties to invest right now. It doesn't seem like the market for that. You're not getting any breaks on anything.
Well, there's still a market in that, but what's ironic is it's running very similar to the housing market, to the regular standard, primary residence housing market, whereas they're going out and where we overpaid because now our rent values were always low. Now our rent values are coming up, and now people are thinking that they can sell their property for, a 4 cap rate, and it's never going to work. So, there's that leveling off that we're seeing in the investment market as well. There are investors that still want to buy properties, but most of the people selling them are, again, unrealistic in the number. So the number's too high.
What are your agents seeing in the form of new listings coming onto the market? Are we seeing an increase in that?
Well, new listings are down 12% year over year. So when we were in a low inventory situation before, it's even lower now. Part of the reason of that is the seller is now saying, look, I'm in a interest rate right now of 3%, 3.2%. If I sell my house, I'm no longer going to get 40, 60, 80,000 over asking price because the market is normalizing, and then I'm going to jump into a mortgage and I'm going to be at 5 3/4 or 6% in another mortgage. So they're making a decision not to put their house on the market. So that becomes another part of that situation. About 8% of homeowners week after week are doing price reductions. We haven't seen price reductions in 2 years. So now we're starting to see, and this is nothing more than the market is normalizing.
Now, do you find the price reductions being a result of accurately listed homes that people don't want anymore, or is it a result of sellers saying this is the hottest market that I've seen my entire lifetime, and I think my home's worth $20,000 more than the guy that sold down the street because my kitchen's a little bit nicer?
It's both. It's both. But the biggest one that you have is you have the agents that just got in the business again, and they haven't had to do any work. They could price it wherever they wanted to price it, and essentially they would get 20, 40, 60 over asking price. Now you have to price it aggressively, and this is where the hard conversation comes into the seller. You have to say to the seller, just because a neighbor's house sold for 240, it was on the market at 200, doesn't, and it sold for 240 a year ago or 6 months ago, we don't start at 240 and expect to get 260. It doesn't work that way. You got to have that hard conversation with the seller and say, look, it's still only worth $200,000. And if we price it aggressively or we price it appropriately, there is an opportunity to get over asking price, but nothing's guaranteed, especially now that this market is absolutely doing the, is normalizing. So our average house is on the market today 22 days.
Okay.
Used to be on the market 22 hours. Okay, so everything's starting to change.
So what will you do in a scenario like that? I know obviously you're getting away more from the individual sales yourself, but if you're going and taking, let's say, a high-end listing, and somebody wants to list their house for $750,000, but you know there's no comps to justify anything over $675. What is your conversation with that seller?
Well, it's a difficult conversation to have, but it's an honest conversation, and that's really, in the end, the client's actually going to appreciate the fact that you're coming in with an honest conversation. But it's an honest conversation, and do the time, do your comparables, do them properly, have the justification as to why the property is only worth $675 and not $750. But you have to have that honest conversation, and there are times when you're not going to get the listing. I've had many a times in my career I did not get the listing. I got a call in 6 months, and they say, "Come out and sell my house," because they went with someone else who said it's worth $800,000.
Who will say it's worth anything just so they can
that sign of the yard.
Exactly.
Your scenario is $750. It's worth $800,000, and next thing you know, it's sitting on the market. So, and that just comes from experience, but that also comes from learning and knowing how to do comps and how to do them properly, so you price appropriately.
Yep.
So I'm curious your take on, you're what, 22 now, 23 years in real estate? 22. So,
22.
Again, so that's taking us back to roughly 2000. So the dot-com bubble, and then 06, 07, 08 through 2012, this market, of all of the crashes, of all of the downturns, where does this stack up in your career?
06, 07, 08 was a lot worse than it is
Than this?
Than this.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a pandemic. I don't know what anyone would call it a crash. This is a pandemic adjustment in the market. And I really think that 06, 07, 08 was a lot worse.
What made that market tougher? Because Mike and I started in 2012, and we were just coming out of it. Still, we had a bunch of people telling us you're crazy to get in the mortgage business, because everyone still had the sour taste in their mouth. We heard from everybody, family member, friend, oh, you guys are nuts. Just stay here in good companies. Don't do it. But man, this has been a tough market. We've yet to see, our volume the last 2-3 years has gone like this, especially the last 2 years, right? Prior to every year we've gone up, but nothing like the last two. And now we're probably looking at a 30-35% pullback this year. Even amongst the producers that we work with, no one has been immune to this market. So it seems like it's so tough. It's the toughest we've experienced. What was 06, 07, 08 like?
The foreclosure market was through the roof because everybody was just upside down.
Yeah.
They're going to be a little upside down today, but it's current today, right? I paid $60,000 over asking price. Now when they go to sell in 5 years, they're going to wonder why they need to bring a $20,000 check to close it because you overpaid for it 5 years ago. However, what happened before with the mortgage crisis was people just went into foreclosure. We were selling properties that were $150,000, $200,000 upside down. Totally different than we are today. So the foreclosure market, short sale market, you had to be a short sale expert. You have to do all this other kind of crazy stuff that you don't have to do today.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that was more of a crash. This is more of a normalization. This
Okay.
is coming out of a pandemic. Everything went crazy. It's coming back. It's normalizing.
And that example is literally our first house. In 2012,
Yeah.
we bought the first townhome we bought in Easton. They were built brand new in 2007. Sold for $307,000. We bought it out of foreclosure in 2012
Yep,
for
for
$182,000.
There's
So
that's a great example.
It's spot on. And my whole thing now is, and it's just scrolling on social media, crash, crash, crash. And I think that's just the easy thing for anyone to say, because anytime a market is on fire the way that housing has been, it's too good to be true, so it's going to crash. What do you say to a client that has that same opinion to you, that says that's why they don't want to buy right now?
Well, I think it's time to get off the fence. I think your interest rates going to 5 3/4 are not a bad thing. Okay. I also believe, when I bought my first house, I was 21 years old and I paid 18%. So this is still a 40-year low. Yeah, I am that old. Yeah. This is still a 40-year low in interest rates, and based on, prior history.
Yep.
So I don't think interest rates going up but this little bit is a big deal. I think when we really get down to talking to our clients, we really need to talk to our clients and just have these honest conversations. Talk about the mortgage tax deduction and talk about the benefits of owning a home over whether the rate went from 4.5 to 5.5.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, you still have to adjust that into your numbers, but there's other things that you should be talking about to really help your buyer understand the full benefit of owning real estate.
And I think it still always gets back to, me and him preach it all the time, monthly payment. And I know everyone's like rate, but like if you're comfortable with a $1,500 mortgage payment and you can get a $1,500 mortgage payment, but your interest rate's 7%, why are you spending so much time focusing on just the rate?
Correct.
And just instead of your quality of life, your monthly cash flow, all those things.
Correct.
What are
It's
you?
the same thing, if you don't mind, it's the same thing we talk about with our trusted advisors, right? Because you guys are our trusted advisors. So you guys are out there explaining that to our client and helping our agents explain that to our clients.
Yep.
Where a lot of other people aren't doing that. They're shopping a rate and they're going someplace else for 1/8% when they don't understand that, the long term, that 1/8% isn't anything when you're paying extra fees and you're paying other things and we don't
Correct.
close on time, and there are a whole bunch of other things that fall into play there. So when we look at our trusted advisors, and that's another thing that I tell our agents, you asked me earlier, what do we need to tell the newer agents that are in the business today, or even the older agents? Go back to work. Go back to your trusted advisors. Go back to your home inspector, your septic guy, your well guy. Go ahead down the list. Your insurance guy. Take them out to lunch. Find out what they're doing. They're going to refer you people. You've referred millions of people to them over the years. They're going to refer you people. But especially talk to your mortgage advisors. If you don't know how the mortgages work and you don't know how this industry works with mortgages before you're taking buyers out, then you're going to be lost. So you trust on these mortgage advisors. You've got a team of 7 of you now. There's enough people here. Get somebody on the phone, talk to your clients, see how the difference in that interest rate really does not really truly affect.
It's something that I've always been blown away with, and it's just how kind of we've all gotten to this certain place as far as people will. You have built a great relationship with a client. You then refer that client to me, right? Mm-hmm. And we try to always explain to our guys it's important to emphasize that we work by referral, because when you work by referral, I have a certain level of accountability to you to be transparent with that client, and to what I tell them I can get them, I get them. And clients, for whatever reason, they struggle to grasp that, because we see it so often. We have one of our guys this past weekend, personal friend buying a house under contract, and he's worked with them for months. He's taken calls nights, weekends, answered scenarios, and he finally gets under contract, and now he calls some random, throw out their U.S. bank.
He's been under
Wells
contract.
Fargo, been under contract. And he gets his loan estimate and he sends it over and he goes, hey, see, why can't you able to match this? And he lists, 5 months of total taxes, so that when he gets to the closing table, he'll explain, I'm not responsible for the aggregate adjustment that you have to reimburse the seller for his taxes.
Correct.
Is the loan locked? No. They just see it and they just, you referred to me I've helped you through this whole process. You've always trusted me. And now you get something out of pure ignorance because you don't know how to properly read this. You don't realize that you're not locked. You don't realize that he's leaving $4,000 off your bottom line by not including all the taxes you're going to need. How do we get through to clients to understand that? Yep.
Because you can't blame the client for that, right? Because what in my opinion, what you have there is the agent on the other side of that transaction should have been more knowledgeable or should have been had a better relationship and to be able to explain those things. And that's part of what we do at Realty One Group is we really promote every Tuesday when we do training, we start off with a mortgage minute and we hammer out a bunch of questions and we take about 10 minutes and we go through what are rates doing, what's happening here. If we don't know how the mortgages work, we're not putting a deal together. So if we were better explaining that on the front end, it's going to be better holding that all the way through the process. And it also goes back to your loan officer then explaining those differences to them. Now, I'm sure that he held on to the deal and all that stuff, but it takes a lot of time to do that. But if you explain that up front, it makes it that much easier. And that's why we feel that our agents really understand the mortgage side of it to really be able to, get the client in the right frame of mind from the very beginning.
So then also off of that, and this is just a pure, on subject but off subject curiosity question. Have you ever been, because again, when they're talking to a lender, what are you going to do for me? What's your best rate? I'm going to shop you. Have you ever been shopped as a buyer's agent?
Oh, absolutely.
Will you do this transaction for 1% and then give me a 2% assist on the back end? Okay. See, that's I didn't think the answer to that would be yes.
Oh, no,
okay.
we do get that.
Because I never see agents getting shopped. Never.
Oh, no,
on the listing side, I understand that. We do it for 4%. I get it. On the listing, they get crushed. But the buy side, I've never once heard of a buyer saying, well, yeah, I already went to my agent to see what they would do.
I just had a client the other day who won a deal because he wrote in the contract that he was going to pay the realtor's 2.5% commission instead of the seller paying it. But then I lost the deal because I was charging 3/4 of a point more than the other lender for the same interest rate. So, and then I sit there and I think to myself, you came to me, you were going to put 20% down. I changed his whole mindset, the structure of the loan, the everything. And you're going to leave me over the $2,000, but pay the realtor $7,500 as opposed to.
It's interesting how the home buyer works. Yeah.
As opposed to saying, well, why don't you take less so that I can continue to work with the lender that I want to work with. But it just, you're right. I don't see it on the.
It's education.
We're used car sales.
I don't see it on the agent side. Yeah,
So we are.
Who's the cheapest?
Salesman, yeah.
It's nothing more than education.
No, yeah. Yep.
You have to educate your client. Understand something. It could be a nurse. I don't know how to put an IV in, right? I'm not going to sit there and I don't do it every day. These people don't do this every day.
Yep.
They're going to buy a house every 5-7 years.
Yep.
Somebody needs to educate them in the buying process. And if you don't start with that, then you're going to be a failure throughout the rest of the process.
Yeah.
So how do you advise the agents to, do you go over referring any aspect of the business,
Absolutely.
not just lending, the title, the home inspector, how are you coaching the agents on how to go about referring? Because I feel like referring is also a skill, so that you're not giving the client some aspect of you're leading them or you're steering, right? We always want to avoid that.
No, but you also, everybody has 3 or 4 home inspectors that they've used that they like. Recommend 3 or 4, lenders, recommend 3 or 4. You have to do that because we are not allowed to steer. But on the same hand, we're allowed to advise them that, look, we've had good experience with these. We've had bad experiences with these, but these are, here you can choose from this array of people, okay? So, and that's really all you're doing.
Yep.
But the biggest thing is they need the knowledge and the language to be able to talk to these people and how to do a lot of this stuff. So, and that's the biggest thing that they don't get.
So then getting back on track here with the agents, right? Because again, the overall turn of the market, the feel of the market. An agent walks into your office and says, Jim, I'm just coming to you because I'm just struggling. I can't get a listing. I can't get anyone on the phone. The buyers that I had all told me they decided they were going to rent. I'm not, well, what should I do? What advice are you giving that agent?
Okay, we're going to start off with a business plan. And if they haven't filled out a business plan, we're going to fill it out right there and we're going to finish out the rest of the year with their business plan. And then we're going to start to implement some of the items in their business plan. Like, do you have a CRM? Now, we give you a CRM at Realty One Group. I don't care what CRM you use, go out and buy one. It doesn't matter to me, just have one.
Need one.
Because you know the best CRM that's out there, right? The one that somebody's going to use, right? So whether you're on Google or whatever you're doing, let's create something. You've got to track your clients. You got to track what they're doing. So let's start with a CRM. Let's get your CRM up and running. We can put a whole bunch of things in your CRM, all the ticklers, all the follow-ups, all the birthdays, all the anniversaries, all that kind of stuff. You have to, when you get busy, now you're going to get busy, all these things are automatically working for you on the back end. Okay, so if you don't have a CRM, get a CRM. Do a business plan. We have a 2022 business plan we just did. We're already preparing to do our 2023 business plan classes. So we'll hold 3 classes till the end of the year, how to do your 2023 business plan, and then I meet with the agents on a quarterly basis. Where are we with your plan? What's working, what's not working? How are we going to increase this? How are we going to do this? So that's a lot of the things that we do on our side. But if they don't ever have a conversation with somebody to get organized, they don't know how to get organized. When I got in the business, they handed me a phone book and said, start calling from A, right? And ask them if they know of somebody who wants to buy or sell a house. Right?
Phone book.
Got to be a better way, right? Put the phone book under the desk and said, there's got to be a better way. There are a million different systems out there. Find one. I latched on to Buffini. There's Craig Proctor. There's, all these other different systems out there. Get a system, follow the system. All right. If you follow the system's going to work. That's why these people are still in business. So that's what I've done. And I do work by referral, which I do. I latched on to Brian Buffini, calls, notes, pop buys, the whole things. But we've got a whole system laid out for how to do that. We do events, we do reverse pop buys, we do all kinds of stuff. So
How long have you been doing Buffini now?
fortunately enough, when I got into the business, I was in the business about 6 months. And I talked about get up, dress up, and show up. Every morning I would get up, dress up, and I'd be in the office by 9 o'clock, and I would leave at 5 o'clock. And I might sit there for an hour and not really know what I need to do next because I don't know. And fortunately enough, I had an advisor come to me and say, you should really take a look at this system. And I took the class, 100 Days to Greatness back then. Took the class and actually never looked back. So it just has worked.
The whole time you've been doing
Yeah, we've been
Buffini?
doing it for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
everyone's definition now is different. It used to be cold calls or direct mail, whatever the case is. How do you define prospecting today?
We use our database. We go into our database. Things have slowed down. My wife would come into the office and I would have everything on a grease board. And we had all our closings on the grease board. She'd go, the board's kind of low, let's go. And I would get on the phone and start banging the phones. And I would just call the investors and I would call my clients. And I would call people that we were thinking about buying. And we would get them off the fence and we would get them out. Next thing you know, board fills up.
So anything back, because that's something we hammer on these guys all the time. Because it's something Mike and I did when we got into it. Everybody, especially I swear our generation just hates banging phones. But I just believe wholeheartedly, you could go to networking events, you could send out mailers, you could send a text message. I still just believe in my heart that nothing will get you as far as just picking up the phone and calling people.
Picking up the phone 7 times more effective.
Okay.
Yeah. And the one thing we always try to drill with our guys and using our CRM is that any client that you have should not be going more than 30 days without hearing from you.
Correct.
They put, listen, you still haven't found anything. We're still actively looking. But to piggyback what you're saying, I believe the most effective way to continue to work that pipeline is by calling.
Yep.
And it's not cold calling, but it's still not just sending an email or sending a text, because I think there's something to be said for the rapport you can build on the phone versus an email. Or
Do you
a text
guys at
message.
ROG, as far as how do you guys, what's your method? I'm an agent and I want to specialize in listings. All I want to do is list. I don't want to schlep buyers around. I just want, Jim, I want to go out. I want to put my sign in people's yard. I want to sell homes. Am I direct mailing? Am I grabbing a phone book and calling people? Because we get the solicitation all the time. I see you're listed in the public record. Do you have any interest in selling? Are you farming, going around door knocking? How are you advising the agents?
I don't do a lot of door knocking. Again, I work by referral. But one of the biggest things when an agent comes to me and says, I just want to be a listing agent, I advise them that that's not the right way to start. I think you need to be a buyer agent as well, because first of all, you need to understand that side of business. Second of all, you're going to get listings off of your buyers.
Yeah.
Because you get a buyer saying, hey, I want to go look at this house. Next thing you know, I have a house to sell. And that's how we're going to get you into being the listing agent that you want to be. And everybody wants to list. You know, the old saying, if you list, you exist. If you don't, you won't. So, you know, everybody wants to get away from running the buyers. There are a lot of people that are extremely successful in running the buyers. Everybody thinks you're going to take a buyer out and show them 20, 25 houses till they buy one. Not if you're trained properly and you know the language and you know what you're doing and you're explaining things like the mortgage side of the business. You can have a buyer, we're going to go out and look at 6 houses and we're going to buy one.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just a different process, different way of doing it. So,
Any other way to go out and get by? You know, again, I know you're saying you work by referral, but if I just moved here from Nebraska, I don't have that many people in my sphere of influence here in PA. How am I going out and getting buyers?
well, you can work open houses, and there are a lot of agents that don't want to work open houses. So go and work open house for somebody. Again, what are you saying to the people when they come through? Hi, please sign in, have a nice time, take a look around. That's not what they want to hear. You want to talk, make sure you go over the consumer notice with them. A lot of people don't do that. I've had people come into an open house and say, you're the first person ever went over consumer notice with me when they come into an open house. It shows that you're knowledgeable in the business. Talk about them. Hey, if you like this house, how would you buy it? I don't know. Have you ever been pre-qualified for a mortgage? No, I haven't. I think I need, I watch TV and they tell me I need 20% down to buy a house. Things are different today. We've got all these other brands, all these other programs. And that's how you start to get those buyers. I did open houses for my old broker. I did open houses for 1 year straight. I said, I'll call you and tell you when I cannot do one. Otherwise, just tell me where I'm going.
Huh.
So for an entire year, I did open houses, built a book of business.
Do you think the majority of your agents do open houses when they have a listing? Because that to me is just one of those things that's like, you have this tool to sell right here. God knows how many buyers you can get by having it in there, the exposure you get, again, the yard sign, the balloons on the mailbox, whatever. I always think someone gets a listing and doesn't do one, it's a wasted opportunity. Not that you need it to sell it, but I think it's a free way to promote yourself and try to get leads. Yeah.
Well, it's also marketing for your seller. So you want to do that, right? You want to do everything you can do to market for your seller. All right. Some sellers will say, look, I don't want the nosy neighbors through my house, and that's okay. But it's a marketing tool for your seller, but it's a marketing tool for you. So especially when you're starting to build a team. So the team leader goes out and gets the listing, and now the team members, so the buyer agents, need some more buyer agents. They go out and they work the open house. Yeah, the open houses. But just imagine, I list a house, and we're going to launch, we'll have an open house on Sunday, and I list the house on Friday, and it's sold by Friday night. So haven't been open houses in the past year.
Yeah. One thing I never see anymore that I feel like we saw when we first got in, nobody does brokers opens anymore. Why?
There's so much information on the internet that you really don't. I don't believe in a broker open. Now, other agents will believe in a broker open, but agents are busy. And the busy agents are the agents that, they're busy. So they don't have time to do, there used to be caravans where we would all take our cars and we'd pile everybody into them. We'd have 10 people. We would go see 3 or 4 different houses.
Yep.
Well, the houses aren't on the market long enough. To me personally, it's a waste of time. I'm not saying that it's not a tool that you can use, but I don't particularly care to do those. And then broker opens are the same thing. Most agents walk into a broker open and say, what do you want to hear? Is it overpriced or what do you want? And then they fill out a little form and they say it's overpriced.
Yep.
To help the seller realize that it's overpriced. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And not today. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, I guess too, and I just think with like Realtor.com and Zillow and these other online formats,
so
it's
much
just
on
like
the internet.
You can see the photos, public record. You go in through Bright, you can look up all the property information. What do you really need to go scout the property for to know? Wow, this would be a good fit for my client that you can't just see a picture of online.
Yeah. So you talked about what do we tell the new agent? How do they go get buyers, right? So I live in a neighborhood of probably 200 houses. Okay, so they're living in a 200 house townhouse neighborhood. They all have yard sales. They all have bake sales. They all do these community things. Get involved in those community things. Did anybody ever think that on yard sale day, where everybody's out there at 6 o'clock in the morning putting their canopies up and getting their stuff out of the house, walk around with donuts and coffee? Give everybody donuts and coffee, right? Doesn't cost you that much.
That's good.
Doesn't cost you that much. Hi, I'm your local realtor. Your business card, and tape it to the cup that you're putting on, or get cups made. It's a little more expensive, but take your business card, tape it to the cup. How about at the end of the yard sale? I have one of my trusted advisors is a company called Junk Luggers. Use them all the time. Call Junk Luggers. At the end of the yard sale, what do they do with the stuff that doesn't sell? They typically stick it out at the road. Now it sits there for a week until I'm going to clean up the neighborhood for you. At the end of the yard sale at 7 o'clock, Junk Luggers is going to come through, pick up all the stuff that they didn't sell at your yard sale, right? Put on the side of the truck, thank you, Junk Luggers, and put your name and your company name and your logo and everything on the side of your truck. Think outside the box, guys. This stuff doesn't cost a lot of money to do.
That's something I've never heard. And you're the first one to bring up for the new agents. And again, it just shows your experience compared to we for the most part, we've had younger agents on here. I haven't heard the open house comment either. I think I've never even given that any thought if I'm new to the area and I don't know. But man, to just take agents who are too busy, go sit in, the opportunities to meet all these people. They're clearly coming to the house because they're looking to buy something.
Yep.
So it's like that captive audience coming to you off of somebody else's work. That they've got the listing, they set everything up. They just need you to go sit in and sign people in.
And if 20 people come through, you got to figure one of them won't have an agent. Correct. The majority of them will, I would think, most times. But still, you spend there 3 hours, you pick up a buyer.
Or even if they do have an agent, sitting in on your trainings all the time, I think we've come to realize that the majority of agents are not utilizing the buyer agency contract. Mm-hmm. So maybe you were working with someone, but hey, I didn't sign anything. Yeah, well.
That's one of the things you make sure that you ask. Have you signed?
Yeah, have you seen the buyer? Yeah. And the yard sale too, that's great. Man, I remember we grew up in Kings Crossing, neighborhood in Bethlehem Township, and I remember they once a year in the summertime, and the whole neighborhood,
they were fun.
Everyone would be black. And I couldn't tell you last time I remember driving through a neighborhood seeing a yard sale.
No.
That's great though, to be able to go around, even if you're an agent looking to organize one in your neighborhood. To go around and say to the flyer, we have an interest in this, and you're kind of rallying the neighborhood to have this community event. And you're the face in front of everyone who's done it.
I feel like it's like all those things. Like you could get into leagues, you could join clubs, like just be social. And you can just meet so
Jen's
many
business through axe throwing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just get out there.
Just get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Just get out there.
Yep.
Brian Buffini says, get out of social media and go into and get back to being social.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's true.
Yeah.
We don't do any face-to-face.
No.
So here's another one. Just get the local ice cream truck, put your banner on the side of it, right? Take an afternoon, send it out to your farm area. We're coming through with an ice cream truck. It's all on me. Congrats, blah, 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 right? Put a banner on the side of it. Go ahead and do it. What do they cost you? $1 a piece?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You're gonna
Nothing.
spend a couple of $100 maybe, if you're lucky. You might spend $100.
Yep.
So things that you can do that are not very expensive, and that's where we need to start, especially with the new agents. There's not a lot of money there, so we have to really be careful and, don't hold an Iron Pigs event. We spent $3,200 on an Iron Pigs event. Don't do that. That's a little expensive. You don't have the client base to even come to that. So let's start to build your client base. So these are easy things to do.
Yeah.
And just great tips for the agents. Of your total, you guys are up to what now? 120? Am I over speaking there? How many agents?
Yeah, we have 89 total agents.
89. So between all the offices.
all four
Okay.
offices, yes.
How many of those agents are? What would you say is the breakdown between the newer agent and your seasoned 10-year veteran agent?
We're at about 60-40, 60% 10-year veterans.
The veterans, 40 newer.
Yeah. Now we go down to we're probably better than 80% on 5-year veterans.
Okay. Yep.
10-year veterans probably about 60%.
Okay. So I think a lot of
We
this.
have a lot of very good experienced agents in our company.
Okay.
Very
And that's the thing. Him and I both have noticed in working with you at Realty One now, because it seems like Realty One is really education focused, which I think is
very
great for the
agent-centric.
newer agents, because outside of our impression to this point has really been, Keller Williams has seemed to be the one brokerage that has built what they've built off of focusing on educating the agent. Remax has seemed more to be just the entrepreneurial person. I don't need anything from you. Stay out of my way and let me run my business. That was kind of the takeaway we've always took from Remax.
Yeah.
Weichert, Berkshire, they don't seem to be they're just more shops where I feel agents have gone to hang their license. And Realty One seems to be kind of that agent-centric, as you just alluded to, focused on, if I'm going to hang my license with you, what are you going to do for me? Mm-hmm. And it seems like education is that, if there's anything else.
Education is huge for us, and we do a workshop Wednesday where we tell everybody to come and turn their phones off and bring their computer, and we help them. We offer so many tools through Realty One Group that it becomes overwhelming. So then we break it down into small pieces, and we offer those workshops for them to be able to come in and do the workshops and do the, somebody needs help with their, I don't know, a simple thing as their signature line on their email, right? So somebody needs help with that versus somebody wants to put video on their website. And we give you a CRM, we give you a website, we give you all these tools. Rate My Agent, we give you Rate My Agent. Rate My Agent, when you put a deal on SkySlope, it automatically sends it out to Rate My Agent to get your reviews. Another step you don't have to take. So a big thing that we do when we start to use all these platforms is we start saving a lot of time, because time is where it is, right?
Oh yeah,
You've got families, you've got other obligations, which should come first, but you also have a business that you have to run. And that's the other thing we express to everybody is you have a business. Whether you think you do or not, you have a business. Now let's start setting it up as a business, start running.
And I know you guys have said that it's putting time aside on those Wednesdays where you're working on the business as opposed to working in the business.
Correct.
Where you just need to, and we struggle with it all the time. You want to put time aside to do things, and then all of a sudden you get an urgent call, or you got to do something that completely throws you off task. But working on the business, I think, it's incredibly important to long-term success.
Yeah, we'll increase the agents. By working on their business, all the agents, I can tell you right now, are going to increase their sales volume. They're going to increase their sales volume in just the same amount of time.
Now, have you seen any slowdown with, and this is kind of what we started today, but the part-time agent wanting to get into the business, as I feel the word's getting out there quickly about how difficult it is right now. Do you feel like you've seen any slowdown or resistance to part-timers wanting to get in versus 2019, 2020, where I feel like everybody wanted to get in because it's just so easy?
Well, first of all, at Realty One Group, we don't call them part-time agents. We call them co-career. Okay, so and there's a reason for that. Okay, so we call them co-career agents. Most of the co-career agents that come in, unfortunately, they need that other job to be able to continue to pay the rent or the mortgage or whatever, but they really want to get into the real estate business. And what we found is, again, with all the tools and everything we offer, because we take our trainees, we record them. They have the option to go in and watch the recordings at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, whatever they want. And we hold the latest 4 trainings are on the recordings. So they have the option to be able to go get these recordings even afterwards. So we're working hard at being able to accommodate the co-career agent, because if we can help that agent get out of whatever they're doing for their main career and get into real estate, that just benefits us. So we don't look at them as part-time agents. Oh, they're just a part-time agent. Oh no, they're a co-career agent. And I have co-career agents that do more business in real estate than they do their career. But they've been at their career long enough. They're waiting for their opportunity to retire, but they're killing it in the real estate business. So
did you always? These are the stuff I'm always curious about. Now you're a business owner, right? Mm-hmm. Versus you owned your business and running your own book of business with being a realtor, but you were a realtor and now you're building a business, you're recruiting agents. We're big, guys, I'm saying we're big fans. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
And he's always talking about leverage in general. And one thing is, other people's time. So, with us on the banking side, we've really leveraged other people's money, building equity, buying some property. And now with building the business, you're really focused on that leverage of other people's time to make you money. Because now you got agents out in the field on showings, getting listing appointments, and you're making money off of them. So does this long-winded explanation, getting back to, has your opinion on that co-career, that part-time agent changed? Did you always view them in that capacity when you were just a realtor? Or now you see it from that side? Because I would feel, if I'm an agent, it's almost insulting to me that this is what I get up and I go to work every single day to earn a living, and you're just it's so easy, I'm just gonna do this on the side. I have no intention of ever getting into real estate full time, but I'm just gonna go do my full-time job, and on weekends I'll show houses and I'll get listings and signs in the yard.
Well, to be honest with you, it depends on the agent.
Okay.
Because truth be told, I've done business with a lot of part-time agents, never knew they were a part-time agent. because it depends on the agent. But it's the agent that picks up the phone at 3 o'clock in the afternoon saying, why are you calling me? I can't take calls at work until 6 o'clock tonight. And now my day's over and I'm supposed to work between 6 and 8 o'clock at night whenever you have an opportunity to call me. It doesn't really work that way. Those are the ones that you wind up getting frustrated with. But we're finding that the co-career agents that we're bringing on, they're co-career and they may have limitations, but they've learned how to work through those limitations, and we help train them on how to work through those limitations. So you're never really perceived in the market as being a part-time agent.
Okay. What's the biggest thing you look for when you got a new agent that's thinking about coming over to Realty One Group and you're sitting down for your meeting with them? What's the biggest thing if there is any one particular thing you could say that you focus on in those interviews? If someone comes in, you feel like you're not going to be a very good fit here from an energy standpoint. Will you allow them to come hang their license with you, or you tell them, I'm sorry, you're not going to be a fit with us? And
we're very honest.
What are you looking for?
We're very honest. We interview them as much as we allow them to interview us. Are we a place where they want to be? Are they an agent that we would want? Okay, because not every agent's a good fit. It's just that way in business, right? And we're not a good fit for every agent, so it just goes both ways. So that's really a big thing. What we do is we find their why. Why are you sitting here? Because if you were totally thrilled and everything else, you wouldn't be sitting across the table from them. So why are you here? We want to find their why. We want to be able to help them with the reasons why they're dissatisfied, whatever that reason might be. And we have with all the platforms and everything, we've got a tool that can solve just about any why. But more importantly, we're also selling our culture. We're selling what we do. We're selling our training. We're very agent-centric. And I can't express that enough. Our company is all about the agent. It's not about us. If you look at the advertising, it's minimum state-required advertising. It's about the agent. So you look at some other brands and, they're advertising. It's the brand, the brand, the brand. We're advertising the agent, the agent, the agent.
So what is because this has been the one thing, Mike and I now are big, we're ROG fan, we're lovers, right? Between Supreme, Restore, we're constantly, when we're speaking to agents that are outside now of these brokerages, we're trying to have that conversation subtly, right? We never want to offend anyone crossing lines, but, do you give any thought to maybe possibly just sitting down with somebody? And I would say collectively, the number one apprehension to people making the move to Realty One is that they don't believe in the longevity of the company. Oh, there's a bunch, I think Compass just was a newer company. They just went out of business.
No, they're still in business.
They are still in business? There was something on them, or was it EXP? I thought I saw something
They were
negative on
giving
one
out
of the two.
huge signing bonuses. Compass. I know that was like a huge recruiting thing.
Yeah.
But still, the knocks on the, Realty One, well, they're brand new. Who knows in another 5-10 years they're going to be here, right? Versus the Keller, Berkshire, Weichert, Remax. These are these companies that stand the test of time. What are you saying to that rebuttal?
Well, they say that, and year after year we grow our agent count, we grow our office count. We are the fastest growing real estate company in the country. We are privately owned, and we are debt free. So we're not answering to Wall Street, and that's part of what we're talking about with Compass. Compass is not going out of business. Compass is a large company. They're a good company. That's their brand. But their way of getting people was to buy them and pay them a lot of money to get the agents to come over and things like that. They're changing their commission structure. It's been listed. It's been advertised that they're changing their commission structure. They're stopping all their.
Maybe that's what it was.
They're not buying their agents anymore. Also read an article where they're not moving into new markets, but that's their decision. That's their business, and that's their decision. They have to answer to the stockholders, and they've laid off a lot of people in order to make money to be able to pay the stockholder, the stock.
I didn't realize Compass was publicly owned.
We're privately held, and we're debt free. We have some of the largest and most knowledgeable people in the industry that work for our company. The likes of Vinny Tracy that worked for Remax for 35 years works for us. Kathy Baker, Mark Pessin, Kuba, the owner. I mean, it's just, we've got a lot of really great things. We're opening franchises and increasing agent count dramatically year after year after year.
Do you think the company will at some point look to go public?
No, I certainly don't know that, but I don't
Sure.
believe that.
Yeah.
But we've been around since 2006, so we're really not going anywhere. I mean, it's not like we opened up last week and oh, we have all these people and now we're not sure what we're doing. So
And so what are some of the main selling points you use when speaking with agents that makes Realty One Group the place to work?
our culture, we call it culture, our cool culture. Our culture, we give back to the community, which is something that everybody likes. You get to a certain point in your career where it's time to give back. We do a lot of giving back. And a lot of the platforms that we have, we can resolve any of the issues that they might have. We have the platforms to do it. We go into the zone and there's one place and you can run your entire company out of the zone. The biggest thing is our culture. The biggest thing is people like to be in our offices. Our Allentown office.
And the agents are starting to come
we'll
back
have-
out to the offices.
We'll have 18, 20 agents in our Allentown office at any given time.
Yep.
You know, our trainings, we're getting, 18 agents in Allentown and we're getting 12 agents in Quakertown coming into the office for the trainings. You know, Doylestown opens in a couple of weeks and, we're kind of thinking we're going to get the same thing there. So,
And what about the money? Right, that's all that stuff sounds great, but if I'm an
Yeah,
agent,
the two bankers.
if I'm an agent, I want to know about the money. So what is the comp plan that why am I picking to come to give you a piece of my check as opposed to giving it to again Remax, Keller, Weicker, whoever?
well, we're not the standard split. So you pay per transaction. So if everybody thinks about it logically, how does our company make more money to help you do more transactions? So when I help you as the agent do more transactions, we will make more money because we get paid per transaction. Instead of, here's a standard monthly fee, whether you do any business or not, here's your fee. Or when you do a business, I'm going to take 40% or 30% of your commission check, even if there is a cap until you hit a certain fee. So we pay per transaction. So we look at it, our job has changed. My clients are always going to be my clients, and I love my clients to death, and we've done great things and will continue to do great things with my clients. But I've also added my agents to my client base. My agents are now my clients. If I don't do the right thing for my agents, they're going to leave. And all we continue to do is grow. And part of that is the training that we're doing, and part of that is, and a lot of that is the culture.
And then,
go ahead.
just
And
real
if I
quick,
can
just
help them
touching
do
on
2
that.
more transactions, I make 2 more transaction fees. They make a lot more money. Now they're able to reinvest a good portion of that money back into their business, and we start to build these things. We start to get their CRM up and running. We get their website doing crazy things that makes them different than everybody else.
And
There's
that's
money to do the ice cream truck
Everything else.
and everything else.
And that's the thing that I think is important that we clarify, because when you and I have spoke, it's the one thing as far as if I'm an agent coming in, the conversation's easy, right? Your background pedigree speaks for itself. Being a producer, as long as you were a top producer, it is when Realty One Group touts 100% commission, right? So that is not one of those. It's 100%, but really, when you get your check, it isn't. If I sell a $300,000 house at 3%, that's $9,000. When I get my check from Realty One Group accounting, my check is for $9,000.
But then we have a transaction fee.
You have the fees associated with that,
There's a
which
fee
most people
associated
pass
to that.
through
Most
today
agents
to the broker, to the client.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know what agent now that we work with, regardless of the brokerage, that there's not some type of broker admin fee. So really, they're getting 100%, and if they choose, they can pass that cost off to the client, or they can, if they want to, they could take it from that 100%. But it's their 100% to do with as they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's 100% with a transaction fee.
So to me, it's like it baffles me still the number of agents that haven't come over when I think about a business model that has the training that you guys have, an environment to get quick answers, to really help with any situation. And I know for speaking a number of agents, you're always quick to answer the phone if they're dealing with something from a legality standpoint. And Jim, what should I do here? And to have that backing along with being able to keep 100% of your commission.
When how many people are getting, it's like when I hear that, they don't have the name. It's not. Is your phone
cares?
ringing because they called into the Remax office and you got a call because some call-in? It's like that's just not how business works in 2022.
They want to work with
They
the
want to
agent.
work with Jim Dietrich. I don't
wanna
care.
work
I don't
with the
care.
agent.
Jim, I didn't even realize that you worked for Realty One. I thought you were still at Remax.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that they work. Anyone who's a producer realizes people want to work with me. The
Well,
name behind me doesn't
And
matter.
you've experienced the same thing when you left Allied and went to cross
Yeah,
country.
yep.
You know, and a lot of times when you move to a new company, like it was for us, when we moved to Realty One Group, our sales actually increased.
It's invigorating, right? This job, you can get into the same routines over and over, but when it's part of changing companies, you're rebranding yourself. It's like a clean
new
slate.
birth,
It's a fresh start, and I think there's a very positive impact.
And I
to
have
that.
new things to offer my client base, which is what we did. We keyed on going over to Realty One Group. We keyed on, okay, these are tools that we weren't able to have or didn't have under Remax. So,
Yep.
you know, I didn't want to go out and buy them myself. So these are tools that we have now. We keyed on those tools in order to go back to our client base, and now we're able to give them additional things through these other tools that now we get for free.
Yep.
And now let me ask you this. It's one phrase that me and him use all the time, and I just love: highest and best use. So as you've transitioned from being the individual agent to, obviously you had your team, but now owning the brokerage, different responsibilities. What at this stage of your career do you consider your highest and best use of time?
To work with my agents. Chris, my son, you interviewed Chris. Okay, so has taken over our team. We're building out our team, and he's more than capable of being able to handle the day-to-day routine on the team. Still there to help and advise and things like that, but Chris is doing a great job. Wendy's doing a phenomenal job. You know, being able to handle the workload on the team. Paul's doing a great job. Paul's a co-career.
Yep.
All right, we're working with Paul.
Crochet, right? Yeah.
Paul Cochet, he's co-career and he's working it, so and doing a great job. So these people are now able to take care of that I need to take care of the agents. I talked to you earlier about they're my new clients.
Yep.
So my new clients are now the agents. I need to make sure staff treats them like a client. I need to make sure that everything else that goes down is it's all about the agent, and that's really what I like about this company. I've always been very helpful to the agents. My old career, my old brokerage, I'd have people lined up at the door wanting to answer questions. And
Yeah.
it was okay. I enjoyed that. That's what I like. That's what I like about this job now. You know, I was
The giving back aspect.
I was joking with Liz and saying, well, I'm really liking my new job.
So
Yeah.
what's a piece of advice, you know, now again 22 years in, what is something your 22-year self wishes your rookie day self knew?
Don't give up. Go to work. It will come. If you put in the work, you put in the hours, it will come. It did for me. So, you know, looking back 22 years, you know, I sat at a desk with a phone sitting on the desk and nothing else, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, just go to work.
Okay.
Everybody's got to get up and go to work. Go in the office. You will learn an enormous amount when you go into the office and there's all these other agents in there.
Do you feel good about the timing wise of you leaving Remax to go to Realty One? Or is that something you think, being here now, thinking, oh shit, I should have done this 10 years ago? Or do you feel
I could have done it.
you know,
I could have.
timing was right?
I could have done it 10 years ago, but I'm a more of a let's look forward guy than look backwards guy. I didn't do it 10 years ago. I had some family that was recommending I do it 10 years ago and didn't do it. But you know what? We are here where we are today, and let's move forward.
Yep.
So it's just a huge, bright future. We've got Doylestown coming on board in 2 weeks here. And we're very, very excited for that. We're going to see great things happening down there. Our other offices are all popping, and
Are we able
adding agents
to
to
talk
other,
next?
all the offices. I'm sorry.
Are we able to talk next territories or steps, or is that
We'll
stuff?
just
Confidentiality agreements.
see the gray hair. Yeah. Let's not do that.
Stay
My
away
wife.
from that one. All right.
I don't want my wife to, have something to say about that.
I got you.
So bringing this thing full circle here, Jim. If I'm again, I'm a new agent, and I'm just at the point where I feel like my broker's doing nothing for me. I'm at my wit's end.
Come talk to me.
Why am I coming to you?
Come talk.
You specifically, not some other franchise, but Jim Dietrich.
Come to us. Come talk to us. We have a resolution for your problem. And a lot of it is training. A lot of it is the tools. They may have these tools at their other company. They're not shown how to use them. They're not shown what to do with them, how to implement them. How do I relate this to my client? How do I relate this to today where business is starting to slow down a little bit? Also look at your fee structure. You did 10 transactions last year and you made okay money and you're like, hey, this is great. I don't care that my broker took 40%. You're going to do 6 transactions this year. It's going to hurt a lot more when they're taking 40%. doing 6 transactions under our fee structure sheet, you're going to find that you're going to be close to, if not better than, what you were making when you did 10 transactions. So if nothing else, just come take a look. Look, if you're happy where you are, we want to be your option B. Okay? So if you're happy where you are, something happens that you know we're option B, take a couple of minutes, come talk to Jan, Elizabeth, myself. We'll just have a conversation.
Last question for you.